Hello buddy, Crow back again with another pickups video. It's been quite some time since my last pickups video. I'm thinking the last time I've done a pickups video like this was sometime near the beginning of December, and we're sitting here in March, so it's been quite a few months. I've accumulated some accessories, some toys, and of course a whole bunch of games that I want to show off in a pickups video. And since this is the first pickups video in 2018, I figure I'm going to do something a little bit differently, change the format a little bit, and that's going to be starting with a new intro for the pickups videos, starting now. Alright, to start things off, I thought I'd start with a couple of things I already showed off in a previous video. If you saw my Switch 1 year later video, I showed off a couple accessories that I'd gotten for the Switch that I hadn't quite put in the pickups video. And to start with, I got these pink and green Joy-Cons. Now, if you were to buy these new, they would be, $79.99. And I thought that's just way too much, but I was in a disc replay and they had a whole bunch of these in pairs for $49.99 used. And I figured hey, that's a great deal. That's $30 cheaper than new, and I'm practically getting everything that I would normally get. And I've kind of wanted these color Joy-Cons for quite some time, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger. And you know what? The Switch looks fantastic with these things on there. When I pre-ordered the Switch, I would have liked to have gotten the red and the blue colored Joy-Cons, but when I went to pre-order, those were all sold out. I wound up just getting the black Joy-Cons. And as time went out, a couple colors, different colors came out. They were selling the blue and the red ones separately. There were the yellow ones. I kind of wanted the yellow ones, but they didn't have those. So I went with the pink and the green ones. I think it's like neon pink and neon green or something like that. And I really, really like this. It really makes a fantastic difference. And one other accessory I did get for the Switch was just a $5 item. This kickstand on the back. This is a silver Nyko metal kickstand. I think it's like aluminum. It's got a little spot in there to put the SD card. But I just, for $5, I was worth it to me to replace the flimsy kickstand. And you know what? The back of this Switch now is all multicolored and Frankenstein, and quite frankly, I really like that. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what other accessories come out for the Switch, and I'm not totally opposed to getting more Joy-Cons of different random colors as well, as long as they're not $80 for the set. Now, near the beginning of the year, I made this small pickups video with these mini arcade machines that I picked up at Walmart from a company called The Bridge Direct. There was a Qbert one, a Rampage one, and they were about $20 each. Now, when I made that video, I got a whole bunch of comments about all these other arcade machines out there, but the one that kind of took me by surprise was somebody has mentioned that My Arcade was coming out with mini arcade machines based on Karate Champ and Bad Dudes, and the one I had to pick up, the one based on my favorite arcade machine of all time, Burger Time. So I did pick up this Burger Time mini arcade, and this thing was a little bit more expensive. The previous ones from the Bridge Direct were $20 each. This one was $35, but with the higher price tag, you're actually getting a better quality unit on this thing. For starters, the volume control is a plus and a minus on the back. There's actually a headphone jack in there. You don't have to run this off of batteries. You can plug your own separate power adapter in there. The buttons are a little bit more comfortable, and I think it's the same size screen. The controls are a little bit better. I don't know about the D-pad. It's got this nub that kind of screws in there to make it more like an arcade stick. And like the Bridge Direct ones, this is obviously running some sort of NES on a chip. This isn't the arcade version of Burger Time, but you know what? For a unit this small, that's okay. And this thing is just awesome to play. I mean, it is the NES version, which isn't really the best version of Burger Time. Do get stuck on the ladders. They could have done a 4-way gated control stick to make it a little bit easier to play. We don't really need 8 directions. But you know what? This thing is just awesome. It's actually my favorite arcade unit right now. So yeah, this thing's fantastic. I don't see this thing in stores. I thought I'd see this thing at like Walmart or Toys R Us, which by the way I know is likely to go out of business, unfortunately. But yeah, I just was like, I'm going to order online, $35 for this thing. It's awesome. It seems slightly bigger for some reason. I thought it'd be smaller. It seems slightly bigger, but honestly, when you stack it up against the other ones, it's about the same size. It may be just a little bit taller and wider, but yeah, this thing's it's actually a little bit more comfortable to play, I think. And yeah, it's great. Now, speaking about handhelds, I did get the Oregon Trail handheld. This thing, the form factor of it is kind of makes it look like a PC, and it's kind of an altered version of Oregon Trail. This isn't the Apple II version. This is like the Apple II version as if it was ported to the NES, and I think some people are trying to get the ROM off of this thing so they can play it in an emulator or something like that. But for what this is, it's just fantastic. It's great. I remember playing the Oregon Trail in school in the computer lab on those Apple IIes and everything. So I saw the video from Lazy Game Reviews on this thing. I was like, holy crap, I need this. I love these little handhelds, you know, and it's made by the Bridge Direct, which is the company that made the other mini arcade machines I did in that previous video. But the difference is that this is a Target exclusive. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna run to Target and pick it up. So I went to Target, they didn't have it. I went to another Target, they didn't have it. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, geez, this is gonna be another instance where it's a Target exclusive that I never actually see in Target stores. That's happened multiple times, especially with Funko Pop figures, where there's a Target exclusive and I just never see it in the stores. So I went online to order it off of Target's website, and it wasn't on their website either. But after a couple days, it did appear, and I did order it. It was $25 or $24.99. I ordered it. There was no delivery fee. I got it in like a couple days. I actually got this, as of filming, I got this yesterday. So I haven't really tried it out. In fact, in the footage you're probably watching right now is like really the first time I'm actually playing it. But yeah, the buttons aren't that great, but you know what? It's Oregon Trail. I don't think it's a game that really needs, you know, like high functioning buttons or anything like that. So for what it is, it's great. And I'll probably be playing this on and off. All right, the last thing before we actually head into the games, I was at Walmart and I happened to see these guys. These are Rampage stretch figures. I knew that these were coming out from some toy show that I heard of. I knew they were going to be Walmart exclusives, so I was kind of keeping an eye out for them, and I happened to see them. And of course they came out with these toys because that Rampage movie with The Rock is coming out soon, so they're kind of trying to shoehorn it in there. But these are based on the original arcade game and not the movie, which makes it fantastic, and I had to get one of each. They're all pretty much the same mold. You know, body-wise with different heads. They all have the same sound effects. And you know what? These are $10 each, which is cheaper than I thought they would be. And after I went to the store and bought all three, I was like, you know what? I don't want to open these, but I want to play with one of them. So I went to the store again and picked up one of my favorite Rampage characters, Ralph. So here he is. I'm stretching him out. He's pretty fun. I might take the battery out because you tap them a little bit and they have these sound effects. So if you they shake them or anything, they make a sound effect. So here we go. Yeah, they're just making these weird stock sound effects. I might take the battery out of this one. These aren't making any sounds because I haven't pulled the tab to allow them to. But yeah, I'll tap the table or something like that and this thing will just go off. Just like now. But yeah, this thing's fun. I'm probably going to take the battery out of this. Holy crap, it's just going off like crazy. All right, enough of that. Let's jump into some games. All right, when I was trying to figure out the order in which to show off these games, I was kind of thinking, maybe I should show, the Switch games and then the PS4 games and the Vita games. And then I thought, you know what? I have a list of the games that I bought in the order I got them right here. So I'm just going to show them in the order I got them. And starting in December, the first game I got after the last pickups video, the last full pickups video, was this one, Crawl. This was a limited run release. I got it for $24.99. Now, I'm trying to buy less limited run games. They actually seem a little bit less special now than they did in the past, primarily because they're releasing so many of them. And there are other companies out there releasing indie games like Special Reserve. But this is Crawl. This is kind of the bare bones limited run release. It comes with a card, and the manual inside isn't actually a manual. It's just an insert. But you know what? For some of the stuff you get today in these AAA releases, that's more than you would normally get. So I'm not going to complain. But Crawl seemed interesting to me because it was like this 8-bit dungeon game for multiple people. And the funny thing about it is, 4 people are playing this game, and one person is the hero, and the other people play these specters that possess things in the room that try to take down the hero. And what's funny is the person that takes down the hero becomes the hero. and then the person that was just defeated as a hero becomes a specter and tries to take out the hero. And it kind of progresses from room to room playing like that. I thought it was a really unique concept, and you play through trying to defeat the boss, and the person who gets the most points at the end wins. I think it's a really fantastic concept for a game, and honestly I would never have heard of it if it wasn't for a limited run game. So because of that, I did have to order it when it was released. Alright, this next game was actually a Christmas gift, but I happen to know it was purchased on Black Friday, and that is Forza Horizon 3. I don't have many games for the Xbox One, and this was one that interested me, but I wasn't willing to pay like full price for it. So it was a Black Friday deal. I think this was like, actually the cheapest we could have gotten it was like $20 on Black Friday. We couldn't find that version of it, but I think Best Buy had it for $25, and we found that. And my wife bought it and was like, you know what, let's give you this as a Christmas gift. Included is nothing, pretty much, just the disc. You don't even get an insert with it, but again, it's per course for these AAA releases. But this game was really fun, and I'm glad I wound up getting it for the Xbox One. It's more of an arcadey type game than the Forza Motorsport series, and I really like that. I mean, I wasn't really expecting the extreme stuff they kind of throw you into this game. I seem to remember, I mean, it's been a while since I played this, but I remember racing a Jeep in a race, but the Jeep was being carried by a helicopter. It is an open world type of deal where you travel from events and to events, and I really like that. I haven't really played this that much because I've got so many things to play, but I am really glad I picked up this. Near the end of the year, it turned out I had a GameStop coupon for $5 that was going to expire soon. So I was looking in GameStops, looking for a used copy of a game that I kind of wanted. And I couldn't find, well, I did find it, but when I did find it, it was, you know, they wanted more for it than I was willing to pay. And instead I saw this game. This is Yakuza Zero. They had it used for $24.99, and I figured, hey, with the $5 coupon, it's $19.99, and that's the perfect price. And included is, you know, again, nothing, but again, AAA release. I don't think it came with anything, so again, I did buy it used. I guess there could have been a manual, but I really don't think there was. And the reason I had picked this up is because I had gotten Yakuza Kiwami, and I said how much I enjoyed that, and a lot of people had commented, you need to get Yakuza Zero. So when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, people said I needed to get this game. Now, I still need to play Yakuza Kiwami, and I think I'm going to play that first before I play this, even though this is the better game from what I've heard. These games really do feel like the sequels to Shenmue in a way, I guess pseudo-sequel. And there's just so much going on in these games. The fighting's fantastic, lots of things to do in the game. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that because I really haven't played the game a whole lot, but I am looking forward to playing this one day after what I'm playing now and Yakuza Kiwami. But it's just nice to have this sitting on the shelf one day when I look at it and say, you know what, I need to play this. Alright, so I just mentioned that I was in the GameStop looking for a specific title, but when I finally found it, it was more expensive than I wanted to pay used, and that title was actually Persona 4 Golden. And when I saw it in the GameStop used, they wanted $24.99 for it. And I was like, why am I going to buy this and get the $5 off when I could get it for brand new on Amazon for $19.99? So that's what I did. In fact, I still think it's brand new on Amazon for $19.99. But after I had done the pickups video last year with Persona 5, and I got that in a steelbook, actually I showed that off on Twitter now that I think about it. Ciro from Defunct Games had recommended Persona 4 Golden and said that he thought this was a better game. And I was like, you know what, I really want Persona 4 because I really enjoyed Persona 5. And I got it, and you know what, I'm not disappointed with it at all. I mean, it's not as flashy as 5, but it is still plenty flashy. It is a Vita game, but thankfully it does play on the PlayStation TV, and that's actually how I've been playing it. And this is the game that I've been playing the most of. I'm probably like 60 or 70 hours in this game right now, and I've been playing this every night for at least 2 hours. I am just addicted to this game. The story actually seems a little bit better than Persona 5 at this point. I don't know what's going to happen, but basically, it's a turn-based RPG. there's a serial murderer on the loose, and he's killing people by throwing them into a TV. And I know that probably doesn't make any sense, but you're going into the TV and rescuing these people all while trying to figure out who the murderer is. There's all these twists and turns. So far, the story is really good. You know, the game itself does seem smaller in scope than Persona 5, but again, that doesn't make it any less great. But I'm really glad I picked this up. I'm really addicted to this game, and I'm probably going to keep playing it until I finish it. And then who knows, maybe I'll play it again. But I'm going to try not to do that. I got so many other things to play. All right, at the very end of last year, I did get 2 more games from Limited Run, all in one package. The first of which is Steamworld Dig. I picked this up for the Vita because, well, they only released it for the Vita. And included is actually nothing but a card. I think it came with another postcard or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but this didn't have any manual with it as far as I know. But this was $24.99. And I picked it up because it looked interesting. I was always kind of interested in this, and I wasn't willing to shell out for the digital version of it, but, you know, put it in a physical version, I'll get it, and if I don't like it, I can always sell it. And I have done that with a few limited run games I picked up in the past, where I took a chance on it, and I got it, I played it, and I kind of figured it really wasn't up to my standards, and I wound up selling it off, or I just didn't like it. This one I'm going to keep, though. This is a fantastic kind of time waster type of game for the Vita. As far as I know, you're just kind of digging, you're picking up gold and everything, and then you're upgrading your pickaxe, upgrading your abilities, as it were. I really haven't gotten too deep into this. That was not a planned joke, guys. But yeah, it's a great game on the Vita. This is actually a really good game to plan to go. If they wind up releasing this on the Switch, I might sell the Vita copy. I don't know. But also at the same time I got Steamworld Dig, I got Steamworld Heist. So they kind of sold those on the same day. Again, this was $24.99. This is like a completely different game than Steamworld Dig. This one is kind of like a turn-based shooter, if that makes any sense. You move your guys a couple of spaces, and then you can shoot, you can aim. What I really like is that you can kind of aim and ricochet your bullets around to try and hit the enemies, and I thought that was kind of fantastic in the game. Again, this didn't include much of anything. No manual, just the card. I mean, again, I could be mistaken. I could have put the card or something, the postcard that this came with somewhere, and I just forgot about it. But again, Steamworld Heist, fun game, and I'm glad I picked it up. If I get tired of it or something like that, I could potentially sell this, but I don't think I will. All right, the first game I happened to pick up in 2018 also happened to be a Switch game, and that is The End is Nigh. I saw this in Toys R Us, didn't know what it was, but I noticed it was by Nicholas, and they do great releases. So I looked up footage of this online. I was like, yeah, I'm going to throw down my money and buy it. And of course, you get a whole bunch of extras in there. You get a full manual, full color manual. You get this little squishy guy in here who happens to be the main character of the game. But this game looked like Super Meat Boy in a way. Not maybe as difficult as Super Meat Boy, but certainly challenging type of platformer where you're trying to run through one screen at a time, just trying to get through. And it turned out to be really fun. So yeah, I'm glad I picked this up for the Switch, and I think this year is probably going to be the year where I buy a whole bunch of Switch games. All right, next up I'm going to do 2 games at the same time because these games were released at the same time. They're both limited run releases, and I've already done an unboxing video for them. And that is River City Melee and Double Dragon 4. Now I'm not going to show what's included in this video because I've already shown that in the unboxing video. So the link to that unboxing video will be in the description below. But I was on the fence on whether or not I wanted the regular versions or these, official or collector's editions or whatever, and I just decided to go, plunk down the $54.99 for the collector's editions, just because, for me, I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna get the physical edition, let's get the best physical edition. And I also liked how these were modeled over the NES style boxes, and I did do a comparison in that previous video on that as well. As for the games themselves, let's start with River City Melee. If I was gonna buy one of the games, I would have bought just this one, because I am a big fan of River City Ransom. Now this one isn't like a side-scrolling beat 'em up like like that is. What this game is kind of like a battle royale for 4 people, where you get thrown into different environments and you wind up picking up weapons. It plays like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but it's more of a, you know, fighting everybody in the arena, trying to come out to be the champion. I actually quite like it. It has the you know, the main characters are those 8-bit graphics, but like the backgrounds are slightly more detailed in a way, and it's got great music and everything. So I like this one. As for Double Dragon 4, this one has had mixed reviews, and I think a lot of the reviews are overwhelmingly negative. And in my mind, I was thinking, I bet they're just negative reviews because they did it like an NES style game and put it on the PS4, and that's why people don't like it. But honestly, after playing it, there are some issues with this game. It almost feels like it is unfinished in a way. It's kind of a bit janky. And the thing that kind of bothers me about it is that everything about the game is 8-bit. You know, the graphics are full-on 8-bit, but then the music isn't 8-bit at all. It's like, you know, a full-fledged music like you would hear in a modern game. And for me, that kind of throws it off a whole bunch. I think it works with River City Melee because not everything is 8-bit about the game. But in Double Dragon 4, everything's 8-bit except for the music, and to me that just, you know, makes me think of things like the Sega CD, and that was one thing I really didn't like about the Sega CD or those early CD games, where the music would play off the disc. It just kind of didn't feel right to me, and that's what kind of throws me off of Double Dragon 4. And again, the game just doesn't feel complete for some reason. That being said, it's not totally terrible. I'm still going to keep it, but honestly, the box is the best thing about this game, honestly. All right, near the end of January, I did get another limited run game in the mail, and that is Rockboshers, a director's cut. And this does include a full manual, not that many pages, but at least it's a manual and again, a trading card. And when I saw this, it looked really interesting. It had the old school graphics. In fact, you get to play it as if it was an old school console game or an 8-bit computer. And this version of the game seems more like a Spectrum style of the game or not. But I kind of bought it because it did say it was a twin-stick shooter, but it's really more of a puzzle game with shooter elements. And honestly, it's just fun going from room to room, trying to figure out how to solve the puzzle to get out of that room while shooting everybody that you can. And it really does get tough over time from screen to screen. And I'm actually glad I bought this one. Not the best game I've bought from limited runs, but certainly one I won't be selling off. Now, you may or may not have heard of Galloping Ghost Arcade. It happens to be the largest arcade in the world, with somewhere between 400 to 500 arcade machines. I think it's the largest at this point. And they're always adding more arcade machines. At least once a week they unveil a new one. And I happen to live about 5 minutes away from there. And every once in a while, every few months, they have a swap meet, and I always miss the swap meet. But back in February, I actually saw a tweet from somebody saying, actually it was Windy Gaming, that said, hey, the swap meet is today. And I looked at and I was like, hey, I'm not doing anything today. I could go to the swap meet. And I went there and I bought a few things at the swap meet. But I only bought one game, really, and that game was Super Off-Road. And I saw this and I was like, oh, you know what? I mainly bought it because of this box. It didn't have the manual in there. It was $15. But I was like, yeah, I like Super Off-Road and I like these old school Accolade boxes. So I went ahead and I bought it. And it was funny, it was like after I bought it, I was like, oh, why did I buy this? I had Super Off-Road for the Super Nintendo. And then when I checked, it turned out I didn't have Super Off-Road for the Super Nintendo. And then I thought, you know what, that's the superior version. I might want to get that instead. But yeah, you know, I'm kind of going off base here. But Super Off-Road for the Genesis is a good enough game. It's just a game I used to play in the arcade a lot. One screen. Again, you don't get the wheel. I know some people will say, you know what, the game's kind of worthless without the wheel. But you know what, I think it's completely playable with a regular controller. I mean, I used to play Super Sprint on the NES, and this is, you know, almost no different than that. But yeah, you run around the tracks trying to win every race. When you win the races, you get more money to upgrade your truck. The problem is with this game is that if you don't win the races, you're not going to get the money that you need to upgrade your trucks to be able to beat the competitors in the next race. Because once you start losing, you're perpetually just going to keep losing. And very rarely are you going to be able to earn money to upgrade your car, and eventually it'll be game over. But still, I'm kind of glad I bought this for the Genesis. So starting in mid-February, I started thinking to myself that maybe I want to start collecting all the Rampage games, because I got that Rampage mini arcade, I got those Rampage toys, and the movie's coming out, and I'm starting to get Rampage fever. And even though those games are pretty repetitive, I started thinking to myself, you know, I still really enjoy those games, so maybe it's something worth collecting. So when I was at the swap meet, I was kind of looking through everybody's booths to see if they had any Rampage games, and it came up empty-handed. But I went to a disc replay the day after that and found this Rampage Total Destruction for the Wii, and the price they were asking for this, $3.99. So that was pretty much a no-brainer, and it was complete. Had the manual and the disc and everything. Played it, and I know that this is on other platforms, and I still might pick this up for the PlayStation 2. Solely because the Wii version requires you to use motion to do certain moves. And it kind of was throwing me off. I think one motion you had to go up and down, and the other motions left and right. And sometimes it would confuse the two, but still it wound up being a fun game. I just kind of wish that I could have plugged in the Wii Classic controller or something like that, and could be able to play it that way. Now this game is pretty fun, although kind of confusing because you're kind of walking around in more of a three-dimensional area, but there's tons of characters to unlock. And this was one of those Rampage games that went totally under my radar, and I played it. It's not the greatest. I mean, it tries to make it a more of a three-dimensional thing, but it's still kind of fun. I think the camera's kind of zoomed in way too much on it, but there are a ton of unlockables in the game. There's so many monsters in this game to unlock. And as a bonus, you do get the arcade version of Rampage included, and Rampage World Tour is also included, and they're both the arcade versions, and they don't need to be unlocked. You can play them from the second you pop in the disc. So there's that bonus as well, although the Wii Remote isn't really the best way to play those games, but they're there. But you know what? For $3.99, the price was right. Also, in mid-February, I got the Bit.Trip in the mail from Limited Run Games. And I didn't just get the game, but I also got the 3 soundtrack bundle. And this game with the 3 soundtracks was $54.99. And since it is a rhythm game, I thought it'd be interesting to have the full soundtrack. Now, I don't know why they just didn't release this all as one set with 3 discs. It seems kind of goofy that they were selling these individually too, because there's 6 games in the Bit.Trip, and there's 2 game soundtracks on each CD. I don't know who's going to say, well, I want this soundtrack, and I'm only going to buy this one CD. So it seemed kind of goofy to me that they would release it like that. And I figured, you know what? Since it is a rhythm game, and I'm starting to get more and more into game soundtracks, these are soundtracks I'd want to have. But as for the Bit.Trip itself, there are 6 games, as I said, and I don't think any of these games have been released physically before, so you're getting, one at a time really quick, you're getting Bit.Trip Beat, which kind of is like a rhythmic version of Pong, if that makes any sense. So you're just trying to bounce the dots back as they come, and they kind of trip you up, and it's got trippy backgrounds and stuff, so it's pretty cool. You got Bit.Trip Core, which actually is a really weird one. If I could describe it, you actually push one direction on the controller and hit the button just as the dots kind of move over your line of fire, as it were. I'm sure it'll make some sense looking at the footage that you're looking at now, but I think this one's actually my least favorite of the group. And then you got Bit.Trip Void, in which you're controlling this big blob around the screen, trying to collect the black dots while avoiding the white dots, with the caveat being every time you consume a black dot, you get bigger. And the bigger you get, the more points you get, and then eventually you have to reset yourself so you don't hit any of the white dots. Kind of a goofy game, but interesting nonetheless. And then you've got what I think is the best game in the bunch. You've got Bit.Trip Runner, the game that has spawned a sequel, and another sequel's coming out. This is the one where you're running and you have to jump over obstacles, slide under obstacles, kick them, and whatnot, all to the rhythm of the music. This one is actually the most fun, and even though I'm not that great at it, it's very fun, and I enjoy rhythm games like that. And then the 5th game here, we got Bit.Trip Fate. Now this one's actually really interesting because it's kind of like a shoot 'em up where you're stuck on a path. Now you can move back and forth on the path, but you can't deviate from that path, and you can shoot in any direction you want. So it's a really weird take on a shoot 'em up, if you will, and it's really interesting. Might be my 2nd favorite in the group. And then you got Bit.Trip Flux, which is a lot like Bit.Trip Beat, just slightly different. Now, as I mentioned, both Bit.Trip Beat and Flux are kind of played like Pong, so I was like, how am I going to play this with the PlayStation 4 controller? It's going to suck, because on the PC where I have these games on Steam, you just use the mouse to move your paddle up and down. But surprisingly, they're actually using the motion controls to move the paddle in this case. And at first I thought, this really sucks. But after playing it for a little while, you get really used to it, and and then I started thinking to myself, you know what, this is probably the best way they could have done this. All right, next up, again, a little bit past mid-February, I picked up Bayonetta 2, a game which many people with a Switch picked up. This does include a digital download of Bayonetta, which disappointed a lot of people. They thought it should have been maybe a physical version as well. Not me, I've said this before in previous videos, but to me, it's like you're getting Bayonetta for free, so you really shouldn't complain that it's a digital downloader now, although I would have really preferred a physical copy of it. I would have paid more for a physical copy of it, actually. Now, I did have Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U, and I never really played it. So, and because the Wii U's kind of fallen by the wayside, I'm not really going to be playing Wii U games much in the future, I don't think, and I'd much rather play on the Switch anyway. So I actually sold off the copy of Bayonetta 2 I had on the Wii U. And this version really doesn't include much of anything. In fact, they even cheaped out so much on this that the download code is printed on the opposite side of the insert itself. So that's being super cheap, not even willing to spring extra money for an extra slip of paper. So now, actually, since I've used this code, I probably should just grab a marker and scratch the whole thing out. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Because what if I decide to sell this in the future? I mean, the whole box is then misleading because it won't include the full game download of Bayonetta. That's really my only problem, is because they put it in big bold letters or whatever. Yeah, I kind of made a big deal out of that in that Mega Man Legacy Collection for the Switch video, if you've seen that. But again, this is a better version of Bayonetta 2. I did play it a little bit, and I think I might actually have to go play through Bayonetta first again, because it's been so many years since I played through that whole game. I think I played it on the Xbox 360, and it'll be fun to play through that again before jumping into Bayonetta 2 again, I think. I mean, the game is just over the top, and that's what I love about it. It's crazy, over the top, action-packed, and I really think it's a must-have for Switch owners. All right, at the very tail end of February, I wound up picking up Rocket League. This is the collector's edition. I don't know if they have a different edition or not for the Switch, but this, it doesn't have a manual, but it does have codes in there for extra, content, and this collector's edition print, whatever that is, pretty interesting. But here's the thing, I really, really, really like Rocket League, and it's one of my favorite games on Steam. And when I bought it on Steam, I mainly bought it because there were really no physical versions available anywhere else. And since then, there's been physical releases on the PS4, and I think even on the Xbox One. And then when I realized that there was a version of it on the Switch, I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy it physically on the Switch, because now I could take that Switch anywhere, and even, as long as I have Wi-Fi or something like that, I could play this game online. It's just very simple. You're playing soccer with cars. Hours could go by just playing this game, and I'm terrible at it. I'm so terrible at it, but it's so fun regardless. I'm on the losing side what it seems like 75% of the matches, but that doesn't stop me from going back and playing it and playing it and playing it. And the nice thing is that all the additional content that somebody might purchase, it's just cosmetic. Even the cars you choose and the decals and everything you put on, it's all cosmetic. Right down to its core, every car acts and behaves the same. Nobody's getting any stat bonuses or anything. It all comes down to your gameplay ability, and that's what I really, really appreciate about this game. If you're really good at it, you're going to do really good, and if you're really bad at it, like me, that's going to show as well. But nevertheless, I think it's a game that people of all skill levels can enjoy. Now, I did pick this up at GameStop brand new because they had it $10 off, $10 cheaper than everywhere else, even Amazon. So I wound up picking this up for $29.99. Now, in the beginning of March, there was a game I was thinking, you know what, I like rhythm games, and I've been playing Persona 4, and it got me thinking about this other game that I saw a long time ago, and that is Persona 4 Dancing All Night. This actually includes a Vita skin in there, not much else. I mean, you're getting a weird cardboard case, and then this Vita skin, but you're not getting a manual or anything else with it. but that's okay. In fact, I didn't even think I was getting the Vita skin. I was actually looking for this used at GameStop, and I actually couldn't find it. And I don't even know what the price was. I just happened, even if I saw it and the price was too much, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But first time I saw this game was at Fry's Electronics a long time ago. And I saw it, and I'm like, you know what, even though I like rhythm games, and I'm interested in the Vita games at that time, I didn't play Persona 4, so I didn't pick it up. Now that I'm playing Persona 4, and I like rhythm games, I'm thinking, you know, I kind of want this game, because after I'm done with Persona 4, I might play this some. And the reason why I'm going to wait till after I play Persona 4 to really play this is because this has a canonical story mode in there, where you actually beat the monsters by dancing. And I didn't want to spoil anything, and I was playing just the free mode and to capture footage for this. Yeah, I wound up buying this on Amazon for $34.99, just because I'm getting more and more into Persona as I'm playing more and more of these games. So, and I like rhythm games, so I kind of figure I had to pick this up. Alright, so there's a YouTube channel I watch, you may have heard of it, Slope's Game Room, and occasionally he'll do collaborations with other channels, and he did a collaboration video with, well, it's not so much a collaboration video, but rather he put one of this other guy's videos on his channel, and that was Jimmy Hoppa, and I really enjoyed the video, so I subscribed to his channel as well. But in that video, he showed off this game, Oh No, a Japanese import game. And when I saw the game, I never heard of it before, and it looked so weird that and it seemed like the kind of game where you didn't even need to know Japanese in order to play it, that I wound up going on eBay and buying it. And what did I buy it for? I bought it for $25 imported, and it came actually fairly quick. I don't think this actually comes with everything, but it does come with this poster and this manual. I think the one thing it's missing is the spine card, but honestly I wasn't gonna pay a whole lot more just for the spine card. But this game is so weird because you play as these characters that are walking down the street, and they either walk in a horizontal line or you can switch them to a vertical line, but you're trying to control all these guys at once. I've only played up to the point where you're only playing 2 or 3 characters, because this game winds up being very difficult to play. It actually is more challenging to play than it looks. It looked pretty easy in the video when I watched it, and then I started playing it for myself, and I kept dying again and again and again. But basically, you have to avoid all the obstacles, and if one of the characters gets hooked in an item and falls off the screen or falls off a ledge or something like that, you just instantly lose, and you kind of have to go back to the last checkpoint. But they kind of move in rhythm to the music, as it were, and that's where the whole charm of the game is. There is these little mini-game boss battles or whatever at the very end. They're very, very, very easy compared to the rest of the game. But yeah, this game was just off-the-wall insane fun. And I would say go ahead and check out Jimmy Hoppa's channel and Slope's Game Room if you don't already know about those channels as well. And we're finally at the end, the last game I'm going to show off in this video. It's a game I got from Limited Run. This is Skyforce Anniversary. This was $24.99. This, again, just comes with a kind of an insert fold over and a card. Nothing much. And I literally got this in the mail today, earlier today, and I played it for about an hour. And man, this game is one of my favorite limited run releases. I saw footage of it, and it's kind of like this slow burn shooter. You know, it's not a bullet hell shooter. It's the kind of shooter where you have to fly around and plan your shots and everything. And what's funny is that this is the anniversary edition. It's the 10-year anniversary edition, but what's funny is that 10-year anniversary was 2014, meaning the original game came out in 2004. And I believe it was originally like an iOS game, or at least a mobile game. Could be wrong about that, but wow, this game is just fantastic. It's kind of like a roguelite shooter, if that makes any sense. You basically play the level as much as you can. You play as much as you can, collecting as much stuff as you can, and then eventually you'll get killed unless you're really spectacular at the game. And then you use those points that you've earned to upgrade your ship in certain ways, and then go back and play again. And it's really addictive. And you don't really see a whole lot of non-bullet hell shooters these days, but this one it's really like, okay, you know, it seems really easy, but it's really not. I guess at first it could seem that way, but then as you upgrade your ship, you find yourself getting further and further. And it's got this really nice twist in there as well, where you're trying to rescue people. So you kind of have to hover over these people that are trying to be rescued in order to rescue them. And what's also nice is every time you start up a game, or you finish a game, it kind of shows you your stats against other stats of people that happen to be on your PS4 friends list as well. So yeah, this is a really fantastic game, and it is a great game to end this video on. And there you go. Those are my pickups over the last few months. I know I did things differently. I like to change up the style I do the videos in. Let me know if you liked it or not. I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to be editing this up as of now. I mean, I might be spending next week editing this video up. But yeah, in the future, I know I got a whole bunch of Switch games pre-ordered on Amazon. I may have mentioned that earlier. I think I have like 8 of them pre-ordered on Amazon alone, and I still might be picking up even more than that. So next pickup video months from now may be just Switch games. Oh, I know I got a PS4 game in there thrown in there, but who knows what else I'm going to pick up. I wind up picking up stuff at random all the time as well. So, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Alright, looks like it's the end of the video, so now I suppose it's time I'm supposed to tell you to like and comment and subscribe and do all that other stuff, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. You do what you want to do. Hey, give the video a thumbs down if you feel like it, because you know what? Any feedback is good feedback. See you next time.